Welcome to the Underground, my little underground with Peter A.
It's My Little Underground. I'm Peter A. Gemma, the New York City duo made up of Felicia Douglas and Erik Gundel, are back on My Little Underground to talk about their brand new album, Be About It. And since they've been a group for over a decade, I wanted their thoughts on what they've learned from each other over the years and what they're noticing about the New York music scene. We also talked about the genre ambiguity of Gemma, and so much more. Please help me welcome back to My Little Underground, Felicia Douglas and Erik Gundel of Gemma.
My Little Underground.
The one thing I've been thinking about, before, we talked, is the fact that it's been 7 years since Feelings Not a Tempo, 11 years since As Ever, and here we are in 2026 with Be About It. The one kind of existential question I want to ask you two is, what are some major important lessons that you've learned from each other over the decade?
Wow, that's an interesting one. We learn from each other. Wow, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is Felicia is very prolific with lyrics and just writing, I feel like. Felicia, I don't know if you feel this way, but I feel like you don't perseverate over the words too much. Like, I've tried to write lyrics before, and it's just so painful for me. I just find it like torturous. And yeah, just taking from that, like applying it to music, like maybe not stressing over minute details so much, even though I do, but I try not to, I guess.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, I don't know if you feel that way. That's just sort of.
I guess I try not to dwell too much on the lyrics. But the exciting thing about a project where I'm doing all of the like vocal songwriting is you just have so much freedom to like take that anywhere. So I guess over the years, like working with Erik, it's the other side of the coin. Like, he is so good at just brainstorming all of these instrumental ideas. And it's not like we sit down and decide to like make an album and like, this is song one, like we don't plan like that. So it's really freeform, and he'll just write demos and I'll listen to whatever I'm drawn to. And he also just has like no chip on your shoulder, like I like work on stuff I'm interested in, and it's not like, well, I really want to work on this song or this song, and it's kind of just like it's like a stress-free collaboration where there's not a rush, and we're kind of just like slowly sending things back and forth about like what we're excited about, or sending drafts, and yeah.
Yes, thank you for saying that. And I feel like it also provides like a means testing. I don't know what the right phrase is, but it's like, if it feels like a demo is not the one that gets the most attention, or it sort of goes on the back burner and we don't really want to work on it as much, it's sort of like, okay, well, maybe this track is not like happening as much as the others, and then we can just sort of move on to the ones that are more engaging in one way or another. But then we sort of circle around to old ones, strangely enough.
Yeah, there are a few where like I've done a rough draft over it, and then like we stop thinking about it, and then maybe it didn't make it on the last album, and then we revisit it, and I'm like, oh, I'll write something different over it, and it works in a different way.
Is Keepsake a perfect example of that?
When did we... Keepsake was like during the pandemic.
Yeah, I feel like that's why that one we sort of circled back to, because we worked on it a fair amount, came up with like a completed version, but even still, we couldn't really give it the same treatment that we gave all the songs on Feelings on Tempo, like getting Alejandro and Ethan in the studio and recording all that stuff in person and overdubbing. Um, so it always felt like not quite there in that way, even though it felt like the sort of song structure and the vibe of it was at sort of a finishing point. Um, yeah, I don't know. It just felt like worthwhile to go and spruce it up and finish it up
Was that a
100%.
was that a song where you kind of, well, two things. Did you dwell on it in the sense that you came up with a rough draft, what you're saying, Felicia, and was it you worked on it during the pandemic, but were you kind of limited to the pandemic? Like you was it when you initially recorded and put it out, was it how you imagined it, or is the version that's on Be About It how you imagined the song?
Well, everything we re-edited would be like on the instrumental texture side. So it to me it's like it's a different version of the same, of the same song. But I
Yeah.
think we were able to like fully realize it.
Yeah, I think so. Um, Certainly the real drums help, or the live drums. And then that's one of the songs that has like the Hammond organ on it, which obviously we don't have in our apartment, during lockdown. So that thing was just so fun to use and seemed to fit that song. So yeah, I would say, I guess to go back to ones that sort of stood around for a while, the song Anomaly is like from at least before Feelings on Tempo.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. That one I think is the oldest.
hmm
The title track Be About It was around for quite a while in like yeah, quite a different sound, I guess. Um,
It was called Carnival
that's right.
until we changed the name.
Well, it
Yeah.
kind of sounds like a carnival.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of the working titles. I mean, some of them are extremely stupid. One that we always joke about was like one was called Hands for a while from Feelings on Tempo, because I was like looking around the room. I was like, song title. I was like, looked at my hand. I looked at my hand and I was like, okay, it's called Hand.
And that's what.
And that just stuck around for way too long until it got a real title. But yeah, some of them are from like the sample material that's sort of buried deep down there.
Yeah. Well, I want to touch on something you guys said earlier about lyrics and not kind of dwelling on them. Do you mean in the sense of are you afraid of worrying about too much about what you're saying, or do you just care about how the lyrics that you're writing, how it makes you feel, or how it's gonna evoke a feeling of, whoever's listening?
The way I write in this project is I sort of like focus on how the song makes me feel. And then I write from there. Which I guess it maybe changes a little bit, like relating to like my life, depending on the album. Like Feelings Not a Tempo, I was a little more drawn to like writing as like a bigger version of myself, like, and thinking about just whirlwind emotions and adventures in the city and things like that. But that would kind of go along with like being a little younger and going out all the time and things like that. And this album, you know, we like don't realize until we get to the end and we're like, okay, how are these songs connected? But it's a little more about like wanting clarity and wanting, you know, just the best for yourself to like realize what that is. So it is like a hopeful album, but there is a lot of like weaving around trying to like find what you want for yourself.
And I think in the end, that's probably what's most important when it comes to making music, right? Like, how does it make you feel? Like when you're listening to this, like, what do you think? What are you thinking? What are you feeling? Like, how does it apply to your daily life? That's what I do, like as a listener. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Makes sense.
So you guys have played the in the New York music scene, you know, for well over a decade now. What have you two noticed about the community that comes to your shows over the years? Or it could be not just the people that come to your shows, the spaces that you performed in. Just overall, the New York music scene and how it's changed over the last 10 years.
This one I think is hard to trace or generalize, maybe just because we, you know, Felicia, both of us have gotten older, and you know, you have a child now. I have a dog.
Big life
It's like,
change.
yeah, we just don't go out as much as we used to, I think. I think about like house shows or that kind of thing. It's like I haven't been to a house show in 10 years or something. I hope that they are happening and I'm just not going to them. So I don't know that I can generalize the New York music scene, how it's changed. I've certainly sort of receded from it a bit, I guess. But I don't know. That said, I think overall it's gotten more disparate, sort of atomized. There's like less of a scene, it feels like, or connective tissue between bands. Again, maybe this is just personal experience, but yeah, I don't know. It feels a little harder to just go out and assume that you're going to meet up with, you know, your friends or people you know from other bands. They might be off taking care of their kids. Who knows? Yeah, I don't know. I'm just sort of rambling about it. Less venues, it seems.
Yeah, well, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely have nostalgia for like, we didn't know it at the time, but like there were so many DIY venues and so many small spaces that like we took for granted, that like you could just, you know, there was less at stake to be able to play there, and bands were, or at least like our bands were playing more often. In the year 2026, like you can't, you know, there are like radius clauses, and you know, like you can't play. Like usually when you talk to a band, like trying to get them on a bill, they're like, well, I have a show next month, so I can't play, you know, like it's just, it feels a little more heavy now. It's not just about, you know, like playing for the sake of it. But Erik is right. Our music community has like been growing with us. So, yeah, people are moving on to different things. There could be like a very young group, a music community of like new bands that like we should find a way to like, you know, see what people are doing now. But I'm not going to shows either. So that's a small goal this year, to like start going to more shows again.
Yeah, same.
But on a surface level, yeah, I feel like there are less places to play.
I will say, like, I do agree with I am experiencing what you guys are experiencing as far as like the music scene in New York in the past decade or so. I feel like a lot of artists don't really know each other. I think that's fine because it's a big city and the venues have changed and some venues have gone away. And as far as like just going to less shows, like one, they're expensive.
Yeah,
But
they're more
if I'm
Mhm.
expensive.
yeah, and if I'm seeing the only time you're able to you'll be able to go to a show or go to numerous shows is if you're going to see bands like Gemma, if you're going to see bands like Ava Luna, just as an
Hmm.
example, right?
Yeah.
But the one thing I will say that I noticed that it made me feel good about like the New York music scene where it is now, at least from my vantage point, at the Ava Luna show at National Sawdust, I saw something that's like this is what I want to see from shows. Just from going to the concession stand. I think I got a mocktail and like a Reese's Pieces, and the guys that were working there, they were like, "Hey, do you want some a gummy hamburger?" I'm like, "Yeah,
Oh,
sure." You know what I mean? I know it sounds
Of
so
course.
insignificant, but it's so small, and it kind of made me feel great about just sticking through the rest of the show. Have you
that's
guys ever
awesome.
experienced that lately? Because maybe it's just me.
Totally.
I
I
think
think
of
every part of uh, an experience has to be accounted for, and I feel like a lot of what we go through nowadays is sort of depersonalized or dehumanized. Um, Not to go down that rabbit hole, but it's just so nice when it feels like people care and there's like texture to things and surprises and humanity. That's what you go out for, really.
for sure.
Yeah, exactly. But one of the things that I liked about, just Gemma as a whole, as a musical project, is its genre ambiguity, right? Because when I'm
Hmm.
listening to this, and if I'm playing a Gemma song throughout your different periods, right? Um, it's really if they ask me, "Oh, what is this genre?" it's gonna be, I'm gonna be sitting there like, for a long time, but like who cares? Because the music should speak for itself, right?
That's what we like to hear. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
Are you guys conscious of this, of the fact that your music is kind of like it spans many different things?
I like to think that's a goal, but I never know how it comes across. Um, it was like, oh, this is like a, electronic pop R&B song. I hear them all the time.
Hmm.
Um, I think when you make it, you sort of hope that it has some type of unique quality to it or sort of genre ambiguity, but else could hear it and say like, oh, it fits right into some box for me. Um, but yeah, I think it's always nice to hear when people can't put it in a box so easily. Because I know personally, I'm really drawn to that kind of music. Maybe that's why the band sounds sort of like that. But yeah, I love that kind of music that doesn't sort of hint at what you should be thinking or feeling when you listen to it right off the bat, at least.
You have to like be used to it as a musician, but like it's that's probably the hardest thing for me when someone wants to box you with, like check off a box, like because they want to reference it to something or what do you sound like? Who do you sound like? Um, so when we get those questions, I'm like, I don't, I know like some influences that I have, but like I'm not like applying those specifically to this song or that song. So yeah, it's nice. It's nice to hear that you you hear many genres within the albums.
Oh yeah, like I would honestly describe it just as a feeling. Like I would always say like, oh, it just it's really just makes you feel good,
Oh,
you know?
That's
That's
really
really
nice.
it. It's like it's perfect for spring, summer, fall. I feel like the flowers are blooming when it jump out. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that. It's very jovial, and it's kind of what we need right now. Oh, at least what I need right now. You know what I'm
Awesome.
saying?
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I think to that point, like when I think about our band, that is how I think of it in terms of, yeah, musically, what type of feeling do I want the music to engender in people? And I think about bands like the Avalanches is a big one for
Hmm.
me when I think about Gemma, like that sort of swooning, uh, yeah, summery, psychedelic type of feeling. Um, I guess that's sort of what I go for, as opposed to like a yeah rock or R&B type song. I don't know.
To that end, right? When you talk about, you mentioned rock, Eric, there's a lot of guitar solos on Be
Yeah,
About It.
there's some rocking out on this one for sure.
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot more rock and roll than what I'm used to Gemma being,
It
which
was
is cool.
time.
It was time, Felicia. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. So, when it comes to the Gemma Groove Station, right?
Hmm.
When was the last time this playlist was updated? And tell me about the motivation behind this.
It has been a long while, actually. Uh, we are going to do a refresh later this month. Uh,
That's right.
I think at one point we switched it over. I still have it on like both Spotify and Tidal, but like we direct to Tidal, but it's on both. And I feel like when we were doing it more often, we were just we had more time at home, and it it was a fun, effortless thing to be like, if anyone wants to you know submit some songs that you've been into. Um, but yeah, like you were bringing up influences and things like that. Yeah, it's just songs we like and songs that artists that we're into or that we're influenced by, or maybe like friends that we want to shout out. So it's all lighthearted.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I love that. Um, and when it comes to just going on tour and playing live, um, do you guys want to go to tour? Speaking of like having free time, do you
Hmm.
want to have a Gemma tour, or are you just gonna stick to having like local shows here and there?
It would be really nice to go on a short tour. I know that
Hmm.
it's definitely harder than it used to be. Um, I guess all of my post-pandemic touring has been with Dirty Projectors, and Ava Luna did like a 10-day tour. Um, but yeah, like being in charge of that stuff, I definitely understand that it's just like it's harder than before. And as you're saying, shows are more expensive on that side, but on the other side, like everything relating to touring is more expensive.
Yeah,
So
and
it's
less
really hard to
profitable.
even like, yeah, to break even. But we could start small, and also, I have a 15-month-old, so I really I didn't fully think it through before. Like, it's not like going back to an office job where you like have 4 months maternity leave and then you're like back at a back in the office and
Yeah.
daycare. So right, I've like switched my lifestyle a lot, and I don't have a lot of family that lives like really close by. So yeah, trying to figure out how to like tour is a whole nother factor with like who's gonna help with the baby and how do I bring the baby and but as she gets older, going away for 5 days or something is will be much easier.
Even if you do or don't tour, I mean, every time I've seen Gemma, it's just, oh, you just announced a show. Oh, we're going to be here this day. I'm like, great. Awesome. You know, it's nothing to fully prepare or anticipate. It's like almost like a spontaneous spur of the moment type of thing almost, right? That's what it looks like.
We'll try to get
chaotic.
better. We'll try to get better at, you know, now that we like we're ready to play, and like it hasn't been that, I guess, like starting back since postpartum. So last year we started to play shows again, but I feel like we're at a point now where we're like, if we had to play a show in 2 days, we'd just be like, okay, yeah, like we're good.
Yeah.
Which is it's a nice feeling, but the next step would be to like start booking shows again, since we were like inactive for a while. We kind of just have to like start poking around again.
Yeah.
It's
And
hard
a
to get
lot
back
of,
in there sometimes.
yeah, right. Well, even when you didn't have an album out and you would play shows, right? When you of course you're just doing it because you guys love doing it, but do you feel like that you're testing out certain songs to seeing like what happens, like how people react to it, or do you not think about stuff like that?
I'm trying to think about the time. Like, I feel like we didn't play many shows with these songs before we were able to record them, but maybe that's not true. Do you remember, did we get to play some of these live?
Um,
I can't recall. The
I
whole
mean,
COVID thing sort of messes my
we
brain up.
started. We also recorded the album like many years back, so
Yeah.
That's also true.
might have been like 2023 or 2022 when we recorded. So like we had the songs for a while before that. So it is pretty blurry, like trying to think of like shows back then if we were playing some of those songs. But the in between, we like once we learned the whole album, we're like, oh yeah, let's play the new set of songs, and then we even have some new songs that aren't recorded anywhere that we were like starting to play live.
hmm
And
But I think that is cool to like, yeah, try them out, see how they sound. I guess I had hoped before we did this album that we would have been, able to get in the rehearsal space and sort of co-write as a band a bit more than it ended up happening.
yeah.
Again, mostly because of the pandemic, but so it is fun now to sort of write more together as a group and workshop different sections and play them live. So yeah, I think this next phase is gonna be a bit different and pretty fun.
More guitar solos. No.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah. Well, Felicia, Erik, I want to thank you so much for coming back on My Little Underground. You can use this time to promote where people can be about it, and anything else you got going on.
Yeah, I mean, we always point people to Bandcamp, and our Bandcamp is, let me just double check, Gemma Band NYC, I think, .bandcamp.com. That's right, I think.
I'd have to look it up, but
And I can drop the link in the episode description as well.
Yes,
so.
please do that because I got it wrong. It's Gemma NYC.
Gemma NYC.
Bandcamp.com. So almost blew the whole plug there.
Love it. That's great. Yeah, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to see what else Gemma's got going on in the future.
Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Peter. It was fun.
My Little Underground.